Hey everyone, happy Friday. I'm going to give you guys a quick lesson on inflammation because I had a consultation with someone regarding inflammation today. So, first, inflammation is natural in the body. Inflammation is the body's response to outside and sometimes internal stressors, biological stressors, physical stressors, emotional, mental stressors, sometimes genetic stressors. So when you have some type of injury, your body starts a inflammatory response, meaning it sends white blood cells, platelets, or whatever you need to that particular area. And it's inflamed in essence that the part of your body normally becomes red, you have pain, and then your body's actually fighting off what happened and trying to start the process of repair, right? So it becomes inflamed in that it sends everything that it has towards that area that needs healing, okay? The problem that most people have, and I'm going to speak directly to most people in the United States because the United States is where we have a real issue with inflammation and disease, is that in our body, we are consuming foods that have chemicals and properties that are foreign and dangerous to our body. When these things, and not just the food, we have drugs that we're taking, medications that we're taking, supplements that we're taking, things of that nature. When they enter our body, and let's start with, they go to the pancreas for all the diabetics out there. When there's too much of these foreign objects and these foreign things in your body sends all of its energy towards the pancreas, trying to rid it of those foreign things. So the pancreas becomes inflamed. A normal process would be that if a person were sick, they would stop whatever was causing the sickness, right? So if you cut your leg, you wouldn't keep cutting the leg. You would stop and try to allow it to heal. If your pancreas was inflamed, most people would stop eating the inflammatory foods and allow your pancreas to heal. But we don't do that in the United States. We continue. And as wonderful and phenomenal as the body is, the body can't keep up. So that organ stays inflamed, and the inflammation goes from one side of being helpful to the other side of being destructive. And that's basically how most things work, right? When you lift weights to break down the muscle and build it up, right? So it is a breaking down, building up process of gaining muscle, as they like to call it. I can talk about that in a different time, right? So let's just talk about any particular organ in your body. Inflammation, including your brain, because there's things that happen. You have a trauma, you have a head injury, and you have fluid that goes to your brain because the body's trying to protect the actual brain, not the skull, but the actual organ itself, right? So the fluid goes there. But if there's no place for the fluid to go, that fluid in itself becomes dangerous, right? I had a conversation with another doctor saying that they're looking at inflammation as possibly a link to dementia and Alzheimer's, right? So, and you're like, well, wait, how does a person have inflammation in their brain and they don't have a concussion or something? They're looking at a tie to the food that has been consumed, and at some point the body's like, oh, you know what? This organ is already impacted. This organ is already impacted. Where am I going to go? I'm going to go into your bloodstream. I'm going to go into your spinal fluid, which never should be any kind of issue in your spinal fluid. That's a different story. But eventually they're now thinking that perhaps it's also going, well, hey, let's go to the brain too. So they're looking at inflammation as being a link to a lot of these dis-ease and disorders within the body. Inflammation, which is a normal process, now being linked to dis-ease and disorder, okay? So when we look at the kidneys are your filters, your body filters, right? The liquid filters. Let's specify that. The liquid filters, right? They take waste, out in different forms, and they take electrolytes and things, impurities, and they take them out, and you excrete them in your urine, but most people know you can't get rid of everything in your urine, so you excrete it in fecal matter, right? But the kidneys have an important role in pulling out impurities. So what happens when the kidneys become inflamed? Because your organs are all linked. So normally you have one organ that's linked, and if something happens to that organ, it stops functioning properly, and then another organ stops functioning properly, and another organ stops functioning properly. So this is why diabetics have kidney disorders and things of that nature. So the pancreas isn't actually functioning properly in a diabetic, and then the kidneys not functioning properly in a diabetic. Blood pressure problems exist, circulation problems exist, lots of different things like that. So and then heart attacks, strokes. Diabetics have all these types of things. Indications of immense amounts of inflammation in several parts of the body. When the kidneys become inflamed, they stop removing fluid. There becomes a buildup of fluid in the body in different places. Buildup of fluid around your lungs, of course, you can have pulmonary issues, right? Buildup of fluid around your heart, you can have heart attacks and things of that nature. Your clotting factors become out of alignment because your clotting factors are found in your liver, which is also impacted by the inflammation in your kidneys. See, it becomes a cycle of inflammation is in one area, in another area, in another area, in another area, all from us not stopping the cause of the inflammation. See, inflammation itself is not the problem. It's turning the inflammation off. And the way you turn the inflammation off is by removing the trigger so that your body can say, oh, I don't need to do that anymore. I don't need to keep going in that direction. I can return to normal, a homeostasis of balance. It can't really do that in the United States because we continue. And most people, they get a medication. Let's say someone becomes diabetic, so they start taking medication like metformin. They take the medication and they don't change the behaviors. The organs are not really improving. That's why you have people who are diabetic for 20 years. If the organs were improving, you wouldn't be a diabetic for 20 years. You would return to homeostasis. You're still in an inflammatory state. The medication sometimes helps, sometimes not. It depends on the medication. And most of the time it's temporary. That's why you have to keep changing medications. All right. So inflammation gets a bad rap as being the problem for everything. It's not the problem for everything. The problem for everything is our inability to stop doing what causes the inflammation. So, hope this information helps you understand inflammation better. Bye.